All right, Feisties, welcome back. I'm your host, Kelly O'Mara, and today we have the whole team here. Joanne Murphy, Katie's Affairs. Katie, we haven't seen you we were just talking about this, 3 weeks. What have you been up to?
I don't know, but it feels like I have no idea. I'd have to look at my planner, but I feel like I've just been running around with like my head cut off for a little bit. But no, it's just been busy. But our athletes, we had a whole crew of athletes who are racing in Canada, in Montreal and Magog at the America's Cups, and they're all back now. And we had just a slew of athletes here. Now that we get athletes primarily kind of after they graduate college, that's when our transition period happens. And so a lot of them are coming in June and July. So it's been a busy couple of months between racing and just welcoming athletes and getting everyone up to speed.
Last week was 2 years to the Olympics, Paralympics in LA, and Joanne and I were both like, and Katie would have something to say about that.
Yeah, I think it's just getting real for everyone. I mean, everybody's always like, you live in quads, right? But there's a certain amount of time after an Olympics where you're resetting and just taking a breather mostly. And then now it's like Olympic points are starting. You're just Olympic qualification, like criterias are starting to appear and come out. So I think for athletes, it's like, oh, like, all right, we got to like start dialing things in now. And even as an athlete, like, especially in countries where the front runners aren't exactly clear yet in terms of Olympic qualification. I mean, you have some countries where it's like, there's 3 athletes, 3 spots, and it's not a given, but it seems a little more straightforward where you have other countries, America, like Great Britain, Germany, where there's quite a few athletes who could make that Olympic team. So having athletes really start to, I mean, they should focus on their process, but those results do matter.
Katie, I saw Taylor Knibb just won her first ever World Cup this past weekend too, which is, I didn't realize she never won one.
Actually, I didn't either. I didn't realize that either, but she won in a dominant fashion.
There you go.
As Taylor Knibb would do. But apparently, it was just her transition who, like, I mean, not just her transition, but like the swim wasn't broken up, and her and the other athlete who was off the front with her, pardon my ignorance on this, they really put a lot of time into the rest of the rest of the crew, and yeah, made that kind of gap bigger, just coming through transition and out of it.
Yeah, there are a lot of people obviously trying to get points from World Cups, like practice, work their way up over the next year. You and I talked about this like a week or two ago, because everybody wants those starts kind of next year going into LA.
Yeah, it's just going to be harder and harder to get on start lists, especially when you have countries that just have a lot of different athletes who are going for it. And like, I mean, it's a whole points game, which is a lot easier for athletes who just already have the points and don't have to worry about getting on races, because those who are just trying to get on, like, it's stressful, like not knowing what your schedule is going to be. I lived in bliss for a lot of years, and when I came back after Kimball, it was more of the points game to try and qualify for Paris, and my goodness, it was not fun. So adaptability for those athletes and just like rolling with it is going to be their superpower.
How many races did you have to do, Katie, to actually get to the Olympics? Do you remember, to get to Paris?
I didn't, but I didn't get to Paris, but
well, you were an alternate, right?
I was an alternate.
Yeah.
Yes. I was an alternate, and I got up back into racing World Triathlon Championship Series races, but it was really like, gosh, I don't even remember exactly what it was, but like the schedule also with a baby at the time was just a bit mad in terms of like trying to race like America's Cups and then get on the World Cups and then get on, and you're also just racing the opportunities of races that you have for the time, which isn't that many, right? Like, it's not like there's just loads of race opportunities. I think this World Cup, the end of season World Cups, are just going to be where a lot of people take advantage of those opportunities. But if everybody wants to take advantage of those, then it's still a bit limited.
And World Triathlon made the rule about pausing points for maternity for pregnancy kind of after. I remember they announced that rule and I was like, oh, good for Katie. And then it was like, oh, but it doesn't count for Katie. So
yeah, it got frozen. Like, I think I was frozen after like already losing so many points. As like I got frozen January 1st when it was announced instead of like after the Olympic, like after 2021, which would have been much more ideal. But so it was a little, that was a bit different. Like not everybody's starting at like ground zero in terms of the points, but you're just going head to head against a lot of different athletes. And it's still just a challenging position to be in. But if you want to make, it's not even necessarily about making the Olympics, but making the Olympic selection races is really like the biggest thing that people have to be able to do if their countries rely on. Like for us, it was always the Olympic test event and usually Yokohama, like the year of the Olympics. Those were our two qualifying
I expect
races.
it to be test event and grand final and then something else, but based on inferences. This was supposed to be a what has Katie been up to, so, like catch up, and now we're like talking Olympics, but
well, and also I want to backtrack because I think it's important to note that Taylor Knibb was off the front with Marta Kropko from Hungary, who finished second. Because I'm sorry for gapping in the athlete.
That's hard.
Sorry, Marta.
But Katie's been busy with her athletes, getting them up to speed. Joanne, last week you hinted to everyone that you were going to tell us what race they could find you at in North America.
Well, I never said North America. I just said across the pond.
Across the pond. Bermuda. No, I'm kidding.
So I'm going
only halfway.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to Ironman Canada. To Ottawa, my first time to Ironman Canada. So I'm excited. Yeah. So let's see how the ball rolls over there.
We're sending some athletes to you.
Really? To Derry?
Yep.
Who's coming to Ireland? Well, to Northern Ireland.
We have 4 athletes at least coming, and our assistant coach is going. So,
wow, yeah,
you'll have to give me tips after.
Yeah, I was hoping to be here for it, but I'm not. I think it's September, isn't it?
Yep, September 5th. 4th.
Yeah, no, I think I'm at Ironman 70.3 Belgium. That's where
we just have nobody can keep track of where Joanne is.
Barely keep track of myself, Kelly.
I know. And Kelly's like, where have you been, Katie? I was like, I've been home, but I have no idea doing what.
I've been home for 2 weeks and I feel like it was only yesterday I got home. It's just been cracked. It's mental.
We should make it a game online. Where in the world is Joanne? I feel like people would participate. Yeah.
Like, where's Wally?
Or a tracker, like Santa. Like a Santa tracker.
Exactly.
You know what? AI could probably create something like that on a little tracking device.
You could vibe code it. Well, we're catching up with everybody, and we have a great interview today with this woman, Catherine Breed, who is swimming the entire coast of California, like all 900 miles. It's going to take her 4 months. So we'll hear from her a little bit later. But we also did want to have everyone back together today because we had some sad news. This is going to be the 3 of us last episode for Feisty Tri. Feisty Tri podcast is going to go on a little hiatus, a pause for a while. So we wanted to have everyone here to say goodbye, wherever they are in the world. So
I know.
I'm going to miss you guys. Miss catching up every week.
I know. It's the end of the Feisty chapter.
No. So we are going to do one last episode today, though, cover all the news. And I want to hear the thing you're looking forward to this year. And we'll do all of that after this break.
Orca has been a longtime partner of Feisty Triathlon, and we're always excited to see them constantly innovating to create the best wetsuits on the market. I have swam in many wetsuits over the years, and my Orca wetsuit is by far my favorite. I especially love the V-Fit technology that's included in all of Orca's women's wetsuits. Their wetsuits are specifically designed for the female body, and you'll notice the difference in fit, performance, and comfort when you try it out for yourself. Orca wetsuits are divided into 2 categories, and within each category, there are 3 different suits with different characteristics and buoyancy levels. So whether you're looking for maximum buoyancy or maximum shoulder mobility, or a mix of the 2, Orca has a suit for you. And there's a couple different options depending on your budget. As always, Orca is made by triathletes for triathletes. So get ready for race season with an Orca wetsuit and use the code Feisty15 for 15% off at the link in our show notes. That's Feisty15 for 15% off at the link in our show notes.
Triathletes, we love our gear. But if you're like me, you don't want to spend that much time trying to make your gear work. You just want it to be there when you're ready to train. That's what I love about my Wahoo Element Roam. It's a bike computer that just syncs with my phone, and my rides are automatically there. I can upload routes, and it gives me directions, telling me when a turn is coming up, but without overwhelming maps and alerts. Perfect for long summer bike rides. You can set it to show however many data fields you want, go nuts, or keep it simple, and you can have different screens for different profiles if you want maps, upcoming segments, lap splits. Wahoo also has 3 different levels of bike computer depending on what you're looking for. The Element Bolt is their smallest and lightest bike computer. The Element Roam, which is my favorite, has been updated with more detailed maps and a touchscreen, along with buttons. And then the Element Ace is their biggest and most powerful bike computer with the longest battery life. You can check out all of Wahoo's bike computers at the link in the show notes and get ready for some big ride adventures.
Feisties. If you're like me, you track how many kilometers or miles you run in your running shoes religiously. And as soon as you hit that number, for me it's 500 kilometers, you replace them immediately. And as you probably know, that's for a good reason. It's because most running shoe outsoles start breaking down within a few hundred kilometers, especially if you're logging serious road miles. That's why I'm so excited to tell you about our partner Hedas and their Alma line, which has a cast polyurethane outsole instead of standard rubber. It's roughly double the abrasion resistance of traditional rubber, and it's not just a lab claim. 2 elite runners put over 1,000 kilometers on a single pair each, one hitting 1,600 kilometers and the other 1,900 before wearing through. That's a lot of distance on pavement without losing your footing, like a lot. And the no-slip part isn't just the outsole. It's paired with women-specific last that locks your heel in place, so you're not sliding around inside the shoe while the outsole holds its grip on the road underneath. That's the Alma from Hedas, a road shoe built to last. And we have a special discount code for Feisty listeners so you can try them out yourself. The shoes run a bit small, so make sure to order a half size up. Use the code STAYFEISTY to get 20% off at hedas.com. That's Stay Feisty for 20% off at hedas.com.
All right, when you said you were going to Ironman Canada, Joanne, I almost jumped in with the big news this past weekend, which was obviously Paula Findlay winning Lake Placid. And I saw the Prime Minister even tweeted congratulations to her.
Oh,
I know.
Class.
So that's a big deal, I feel like, when the Prime Minister's jumping in.
Yeah, well, what a race she had. I mean, it was absolutely executed to perfection. If somebody was going to step up and go along for the first time, well, Paula Findlay gave us a masterclass on how to do it.
I feel like you never, and this isn't like about Paula, this is like in general, you never know what's going to happen that last 10K in an Ironman. Like we've seen some amazing Olympians, you know, struggle when it gets to that second half of the marathon. We've seen some make the transition really, really well. And I mean, even she said, I mean, she was on course record pace until kind of that last 10K. And so even she said, like, my quads gave out. But, you know, besides being 3 minutes off the course record, which is amazing for your first time ever, I think she had a pretty flawless, and she seemed so happy. That's what she seemed like. She was having so much fun.
It seemed like such an emotional race for her. It wasn't just about like doing it the first time, I think. Which I don't know. It felt really meaningful.
Did you see she rang the first timer bell as well? I mean, it was a big deal for her to become an Ironman. I think the fact that she has had such a decorated career so far over the shorter course racing, the 70.3, the T100, all of that, even the Olympics, you know, that there was probably a little bit of pressure on her to perform really well at Placid in her debut, whether it was external pressure or internal pressure. Maybe I'm assuming wrong, but I imagine that there was. And I'd say the relief of crossing that finish line was incredible.
It seemed like she also just appreciated having something new after you've been in the sport for like 20 years, finding something. I mean, even I think us who like haven't been doing this since we were 16, like she has, it's hard to find something that's still exciting and new and interesting. So I think there's a lot in that, right? And maybe this is like her distance, man. Maybe she like found her thing. Yeah.
And she also qualified
That's
for
what
Kona.
I felt like.
That's
Yeah.
what you felt like.
It was like she felt her home, but even though she's like crushed it on every level to like, I mean, at some capacity. So it's like, I don't know. I think that I also felt like what stuck out to me was just like her leaning on her support network, like Eric and Paulo and a bunch of other people. But like, I thought that was pretty cool too. It's just, it almost felt like a championship race in terms of like, well, obviously the performance was just like incredible for her first one, and not just her first one, but for any for any Ironman athlete, no matter how long you've been doing it. Like,
and her and Marta were kind of battling all day, which was cool too. Marta Sanchez and
Rachel, wasn't it? Rachel Zelinskas
was in third, yeah.
And then poor Chelsea. What happened to Chelsea?
That's what I was about to say too. Was obviously Chelsea had surgery. I was looking at this because I was like, how long ago? It was like 4 months ago. It was not that long ago. She had surgery on her foot. And so I think clearly in the second half of that run, she just like wasn't back to running, but she had to validate. And so and part of me, so obviously we are not the same, but I had a similar race at Lake Placid and walked significant portions of that second lap of that run. And I was like, oh man, that is a brutal course to be walking it in. But she validated. I've seen obviously a lot of internet-y people being mean and also being like, oh, well, she's not going to do good in Kona. Look, man, Chelsea comes through in big races. I would not write her off in any way for Kona. Like, she got the box checked. She has, 3 more months now?
And she also had that illness in Kona last year. So she is burning for a good performance in Kona again to back up her World Championship win.
For sure. So I was about to say there's one more race to get Kona spots. It's Kalmar in 2 weeks for the pros. There's 3 men and 3 women spots in Kalmar, but this was one of the last races. So it was certainly people who did Placid aren't going to do Kalmar too. So, a lot of people, this was their like kind of last chance, last throwing it in. So we have almost complete list now for Kona. Pretty close.
Yeah, I was actually looking at it earlier. There's quite a lot of people on it, but there's a few people still off it as well. So I wonder, I did see Fiona Moriarty on Instagram during the week. She didn't have a great race on the day and was disappointed not to get her slot for Kona as well. So there's a few people who have just been outside the slot. And I don't think they rolled that far for the pros in Placid. I could be wrong, but I don't think they did.
Yeah, I think Samantha Skold, who won the overall amateur at Kona last year, got the last pro spot at Placid, which is cool, which is actually really cool. So then she'll be able to do her first ever pro Kona this year. So yeah.
And then I see that we have Ironman 70.3 Boise. Is that how you pronounce it, in Idaho?
Boise. Yep. So yeah, so that was Placid. There was the Ironman Pro Series. Now the Pro Series goes to Boise, as we say it.
My accent wasn't too bad on it, was it?
No, I'm just making fun.
You did pretty good.
Thanks. I'll give you some Irish words for when your team are here, Katie. But then I saw on the start list that Lisa Perterer and I think Grace Tech, but they both raced at Placid, so I doubt they're going to start in Boise this weekend, will they?
I am not sure yet. The list of who's going to be at the pro panel went out, and it's like Lydia, Russell, Hannah Berry. So pro panel usually is a hint on whether or not someone's going to be there, but you never know for sure. Lydia's obviously my secret rooting for.
She's had great races so far. Isn't it 2 runners-up performances this year, back to back as well?
So
wait,
what you're looking at it, Katie? You have questions?
I'm looking at it.
Okay,
I have a question. Yes,
okay.
Thank you for reading the situation exactly correct. Why is Lisa Perterer on who declined their slot? Is she not going to?
She declined her slot?
In the list, it says she declined her slot.
Oh.
Is that something we know about or no? There's an asterisk, but I still don't understand it. So I need someone else to explain it to me and explain it to all of our listeners.
So we gotta check. Okay, I'm checking. I don't know. Sometimes I can't keep track of who is where. No, she already had a spot. That's why she declined it. She didn't decline it. She has a spot already from Hamburg. That's what I was checking. Yes.
Oh,
so it comes up in the list as declined because that just means that it rolls down to the next person. but she has a spot already.
Oh, I see her. Yeah. Okay. Number 42.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't be confused. I was like, how are we not talked about this? This makes sense.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I also
guys.
got very confused about Martin because I was like, wait, because he won Placid course record, all this. But then I was like, doesn't he already have a spot? Anyway, it's very confusing, hard to keep track of every person. It's a lot of pros these days. Moving on. Lisa will be in Kona. She has her spot. She may not be racing Boise.
She's qualified twice. That's
right.
why.
Right. So, yes, Joanne, Boise this weekend. I am sure some people will make, they always make decisions. The other person this is not about Boise, but the other person who is missing from the Kona list is Holly Lawrence. And I think she has now said she was injured and she will not be trying to make another attempt. So
that's a bummer.
I know. All right, Boise, Joanne, the actual pro panel is Grace Alexander, Kirsten Casper, Hannah, and Lydia. So that makes me think some of those Placid athletes are still kind of a question mark to see how they feel.
Yeah, I wonder.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder. It would be a tough turnaround from Placid.
It's like
70.3?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So that is
based off of Paula's video of her walking.
Yeah. Well, Paula is the defending champion of Boise.
Mm-hmm.
But I presume she's not racing because she could barely walk up the stairs in the Instagram post.
No. But that is this weekend, and it's the first time Pro Series will be in Boise, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the other thing this upcoming weekend is WTCS London, which is sort of a T100 race. Like but it's not one. It's like on the T100 list, but then it has this like asterisk, and it's like actually it's not 100K. And it's not a T100, it's just a WTCS. So it's really just a WTCS, but they keep like listing it in their like combo events. Anyway, that's like a Kelly point, because I guess T100 is running the amateur events, but it's a WTCS London. I believe Beth Potter's back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at that start list, it's like the top 10 all have like very consistent podium athletes. Not saying anyone else can't be on the podium, but like the top 10 of them are like often on the podium, which will just make that race like super exciting.
It's cool to have a big city. I know that's obviously like part of the T100 World Triathlon like partner thing is that we want more big city races, but it's cool to have one like in London again. I'm hoping crowds come out. Guys, come out. All of our UK listeners, come out. Cheer people on.
Yeah. I wonder, Katie, is it the same course or similar to when the WTCS race was on in London in 2013? I wonder, is it similar?
Keep talking, and I can tell you in a minute.
I raced that race. It was the age group like World Championships in 2013. Yeah. So I remember we got a short and swim. It was Olympic distance race. We got a short and swim, but it was amazing racing through Hyde Park and all the sites of London. So it's probably similar if it's in Hyde Park. I haven't looked at it.
I do not think it's in Hyde Park.
I don't think it's in Hyde Park.
No.
I think it's like T100 bought the London Triathlon. Then they put that T100 London on last year. That was kind of like by like people told me, I don't know London that well, but they told me it was like by the docks or something. Okay. And then this now is kind of like expanding on that T100 purchase because they're still running like the amateur events. And then now we're doing WTCS. So I don't know where it is exactly, but my understanding is, it's more tied to the T100 than to the historic Hyde Park Olympic course. Because that was like that was the course for the Olympics in Hyde Park, right? Yes. Back in 2012.
Yeah. It's by London City Airport.
There you go.
For those
who know where
familiar.
that is. Yeah. But that is this weekend. And we've just talked a whole bunch about how like everyone's trying to get points. It's a big deal. Lots of WTCS racing this year. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is like one of those, when I look at the start list, it just seems like a lot of people are showing up to this race, which makes sense because I feel like not to say it's based off of the location, but it's easily accessible. It fits well with like the grand final. I think because I'm pretty sure it's only London and Karlovy Vary left.
before the grand final in Spain.
Yes. Yeah. So
they did announce they're bringing Abu Dhabi back, but it's going to be like later in the year after the final, right? Like in November now or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So there is that one too, but it's not, as far as I know, it's not counting for that.
It does count for Olympic points, but it doesn't count for like WTCS for this year points.
WTCS.
And then if you really want to get in a points hole and get very confused, you can find out that there are like 4 different ranking lists. It's all very confusing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Can I tell you that I'm already totes confused?
Yeah, well, if we come back, we can go through all the rankings.
So London this weekend, though, exciting. Anything else coming out this weekend? Boise, London. Then there's a T100 in Vancouver next weekend, and then I don't know. We have one more Kona qualifying race. Then I feel like we're in a championship season, guys. We're so close.
It does feel like we're heading that direction, and even with the 2 years out from the Olympics, it's like everything is
moving. Everything is moving.
Yeah. Building. We're building.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Except
for our
us.
last episode, I was going to ask, what are you then most looking forward to this year?
Of races?
Yeah, like in triathlon universe, not in your like personal life, Katie, not your kitchen renovation. Okay.
I mean, I'm most looking forward to seeing how, particularly for the Americans, like what these next, I know this is broader than what you're talking about, but like how leading into the Olympics, what it looks like for what the Americans are going to be going into the Olympics in terms of who are going to be our front runners. Because I don't know. I feel like there's a few athletes who you can look at, like obviously Spivey is just super consistent. Nib just had a very dominant performance, but there's also a lot of athletes who are going to be vying for those like second and third spots. And for the men's side, I think it's like relatively open.
It's more wide open than it's been for the U.S. in the past, I feel like. In the
last year. It's going to be neat to see between the athletes who've been competing for a long time and the athletes who are more like coming up out of the NCAA programs and Talent ID. Like a lot can happen in 2 years still, but they have to put themselves in a position to take those opportunities. So that's what I'm most excited for.
What you're excited about, Joanne?
Mm-hmm.
I think I am excited about the next few weeks of racing. In particular, I think the World Championship, both the 70.3 World Championship and Kona. I think they're both. Yeah, man, I'm allowed for both.
Oh man!
Well, I think Kona obviously has to outrank the Ironman 70.3 World Championship, but then it's just like there's different athletes. I don't know. I'm excited to see how people race and where the sport goes over the next 6 months to the end of the season.
Yeah, I was going to say I was excited about 70.3 Worlds because obviously like Kona's Kona. You kind of, I mean, you don't like know what you're going to get. Obviously that's the whole thing about Kona, but you know, we've been there a long time. But I was pretty excited about 70.3 Worlds because I think Nice is like a really cool course and it is before Kona this year again. So you get kind of the build up into it. I think a lot of people then are going to do it. It's really like come into its own as an event, right? Like people really focus on it. So I think that'll be really fun and cool. Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's going to be cool. It's going to be busy.
Yeah. Well, for Joanne, it's going to be busy.
We each represent a leg of one of the triathlon, not disciplines, but gosh, I cannot put words together today.
Distances? Were you trying to say distances?
Distances would work.
Okay.
I was thinking formats.
Formats is good. Formats is a better word, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, it's been great talking to everybody for the last year on the Feisty Triathlon podcast. And for all our listeners, obviously, like stay tuned. We'll see what they decide to do kind of after we're gone. And don't forget, after this break, we are coming back to talk to Catherine Breed, who I just thought was awesome. She is swimming the entire length of California, which is going to take like 4 months. She's swimming every day. And she is a former triathlete, like as an amateur. And so she kind of had some tips for triathletes. I asked her. So we will have that interview to close us out after this break. And goodbye, Katie. We will still talk, Katie and Joanne.
I sure hope so.
I'm going to miss you guys.
But it will be sad missing our weekly catch-ups, or at least bi-weekly or tri-weekly catch-ups.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And we will see you around at the races. Feisties, if you're not sure which supplements to take, I get it. The space can be confusing. But there are actually a few supplements that have a lot of research and support to back up their use and benefits. And one of those is creatine. That's why you've probably been hearing a lot about creatine lately, because the benefits are real. Creatine supplementation can support muscle recovery and lean muscle growth, and even improve brain health and cognitive performance. But it's also made the category very crowded. How do you know which one to take? That's where Momentus's signature spec creatine comes in. It sets a new standard for creatine purity, manufactured in a pharmaceutical facility and going through a 6-stage testing process with multiple independent agencies, ensures that you're getting the highest quality creatine. And then the ultrafine powder mixes effortlessly with no clumping, so you can drink it after workouts or before bed, whatever you need to help you do what you already do, but better. You can try Momentus Signature Spec Creatine for 35% off your first order with the code Feisty Tri. That's FEISTY Tri, TRI, at livemomentus.com.
Feisties, have you ever wished there was a festival built entirely around active women where sport, learning, adventure and community are all rolled into one super fun weekend? If so, we have the perfect event for you. Feisty Fest is happening from September 18th to 20th in Pennsylvania. Fancy trying something new? Maybe give track cycling or pickleball a go. Do you love what you're already doing? Why not join the group runs, bike rides, swimming sessions, mountain biking, or strength workouts? You choose what you want to do and build your own perfect workout weekend in great company. Hear from expert coaches, athletes, and specialists sharing insights specifically for female athletes, helping you to train smarter, perform better, and stay healthy for the long haul. Whether you're chasing a new goal, making a comeback, or simply want to spend time with women who understand your passion for sport, you'll find your people at Feisty Fest. And who knows, your next training buddy, race partner, or Feisty bestie could be waiting there for you. Head to feisty.co to grab your ticket today. The link is in the show notes. Feisty Fest. Move, learn, connect. Your weekend adventure starts here.
All right, today we are welcoming Catherine Breed. Before she starts out on her swim, sometime around July 1st, depending on weather, she will be swimming from the Oregon border all the way down to Mexico along the California coast, which is 900-ish miles. That'll take you about 4 months-ish, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, about 4 months.
So I figured whenever I tell people about this, or they read about it in the New York Times, or you've been kind of everywhere, they have so many logistical questions. They're like, where is she going to sleep? What is she going to eat? How do you get supplies? Like, how much does this cost? So I figured let's start with all of those kind of logistical, how does this work questions.
Yeah, it's so great because so many people are like so fixated on, oh my God, that's a lot of swimming. And I'm like, no. It's so much more planning. Like the swimming part to me is like the easiest part of it, which is kind of wild saying that swimming in the California coast is the easy part of this project. The logistics it's been over 3 years of dialing in the logistics. I mean, everything from what do we call this to how do we raise money? Do we found a nonprofit? Do we partner? Okay, we're going to found our own nonprofit. What do we call it? How do you build a nonprofit? How do you get 501c3 designation? Okay, cool. We got that. All right. How do we outreach to brands? How do you build a deck? How do you ask, like, how do you get in touch with marketing people? How do you do fundraising for donors? Like, then that's like part one, because the swim doesn't happen until you've got the funding. Expeditions like this are very expensive, especially doing it on U.S. soil and in California. I mean, something that people don't think about is like insurance. You know, $1 million insurance policies are really expensive. Fuel is really expensive. And then after that, then it's all, okay, now how do we do it? What vessel? Who's on the crew? How do we contract them? How do we get insurance for them and the boat? And then how do you move down the coast? How do you move down a really kind of volatile body of water that has very minimal places for us to hide. And then you start thinking about all those things to keep it moving forward. And as you think about how do we move forward, then all the risks come into play of what do we need to plan for? What's our plan A, B, C, D, E? And how do we do it safely? And so it's been a lot, but I am surrounded by just experts in this space. And I've spent a lot of time up and down the coast meeting the communities and gotten so much amazing insight to help with these absolutely bananas logistics. But I guess really high level, I'm swimming about 5 hours a day, just 10 miles. We'll sleep on the boat every night, which is a 52-foot Beneteau. I will, when I'm swimming, have a tender next to me with an outboard, so like a little dinghy, and we'll mostly be sleeping at harbors as often as we can. Sleeping on the hook or anchoring is very difficult on our coastline, and it also requires a crew member to be up all night on watch or rotating. So it's just better if we're docked.
Okay. And so I assume at some of those harbors, you'll resupply food and all this. Because my husband, his first question was, is she swimming straight for 4 months? And I was like, no, she's going to sleep.
Yeah. It's kind of like doing the PCT. I think for a lot of your listeners, like people can wrap their heads around hiking the PCT or the Appalachian Trail or biking the Great Divide. And it's very similar to those expeditions. You're doing a little bit every day for a long time. Food is going to be shipped or brought up from my family. So they're actually cooking meals in their home kitchen and bringing them to us. And my family actually has worked in the food industry. My grandma ran a very large food manufacturing business for a while. So I'm like, this is the best person to do this. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. And I'm going to go ahead and say the other question I know everyone has is, what about the sharks? That is definitely the question you're getting a lot, I am sure.
It is. It's funny. People are so fixated on sharks, but then you see like in the news every summer, someone in Yellowstone goes and like tries to get a selfie with a grizzly bear. And I'm like, they're both apex predators, the shark thing is concerning because you can't see them, but the reality is if sharks preyed and, for lack of a better term, ate humans, like no one would surf, no one would swim, no one would scuba dive. It simply like would not be safe to be in the ocean. Sure. And that's not true. That's not what happens. And you have a higher risk of car accident than a shark attack. I do recognize statistically, me swimming on the coast, I am raising my chance of an encounter. So for that, we just are going to have crew with eyes on the water. We have shark deterrents on the Zodiac, the tender. I'll be wearing a shark bands, and we're swimming about 1 to 2 miles offshore. So we're out of like where their feeding grounds would be. And if we do see one, we get out of the water. But I've swam hundreds of miles along this coast, and I have seen great white sharks twice. Really? Just a fin, and the interactions have been very, very uneventful.
How scared are you? I'll say like one time I saw a fin when I was swimming, right? And it turned out to be a dolphin, and I still panicked. Yeah. So I want to know, how scared were you when you saw that?
The first time I saw one, I was swimming in Aptos, and for people who know California, Aptos is where the shipwreck is, and it's where all the juvenile great whites hang out. Terrible place to swim, do not recommend. And they're all over there. So one did line up next to my paddler, and on it. He's like, Kat, there's a shark. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And he's like, get to shore. And then within a couple seconds, the shark swam away. So that one, I was nervous for sure. The second one, we were surfing and we all saw the fin and we're like, that's really cool. But we should maybe get out. And we got out. One guy just stayed in the water and surfed and got all the waves. So he didn't seem to be too bothered, but yeah.
That's one strategy, to get waves. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And I understand, like, you have a regular job right now, and you're quitting it to do this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I have worked in like med device sales for 10 years. My last day in the operating room was on Tuesday, and it was very sad. I was like, this is an end of I've loved my job. I've poured my soul into this job. I am so passionate about healthcare. I was a pre-med major at Berkeley, and it's really cool that I get to spend my days in the operating room. But unfortunately, yeah, my leave of absence request was not approved. And so I had to make a really hard decision. And the decision I made was like, this is the time in my life to go after something like this. And there may be an opportunity for me to return down the road. But yeah, I was planning this whole swim while working a full-time job.
That sounds, I mean, I know a lot of people who do a lot of crazy things and a lot of listeners, but that still sounds exhausting. Yeah.
It's exhausting. I mean, I would wake up, train, get to the hospital, go like do what I needed to do there, and then go to the cafeteria. A lot of my work was done in like the UCSF cafeteria. And then go back to the OR, take a call, go back to the OR, go train in the afternoon, and then finish up at like 9 to 10 p.m. on whatever work I had to do for the nonprofit, for the planning, for my day job. So really long days. It's been a hard past few years.
Definitely. So I guess the next one everyone is we'll get to why, right? If it's so hard, you're doing it's taking all this work, you might see sharks. It doesn't sound appealing to me. Like why do you want to do this?
I love that. I think you have like the right listener base, the people that are following you, like you've got people who are like running Western states next week, right? And that like other people are like, why would you run that far? And there is this bit, I think, with like human nature of it's there to do. I mean, isn't that like Sir Edmund Hillary's quote about Everest? Is it because it's there? Because how cool to go after it. So for myself, there's a little bit of that, but the deeper why is there's kind of two whys, like the intrinsic and the extrinsic. And the intrinsic is it is there to do. And I love this coastline. Like it truly, you see me get in the water on the California coast, whether it's surfing, swimming, spearfishing, and I'm just like immediately happy. I'm like, this is where I'm supposed to be. So how cool that I like created this expedition where I get to do the thing I love the most and have this intimate like relationship and learning opportunity with this place that has raised me and is so meaningful to me. And so that is very special. And then extrinsic, because that's a strong reason, but you do need to have a reason bigger than yourself. Like I'm doing this for something. And there's twofold there. One is we're telling the story of the California coastline. We're using the sporting aspect of this to amplify what's happening along our coastline. And we're doing that through 10 to 13 community pop-ups. And so we'll like alert everyone, hey, we're going to be in Mendocino on this date. Come by, learn about the Noyo Science Center. Learn about what's happening in your backyard. What issues are going on? What conservation efforts? Learn how you can get involved. And so I think that's such a fun way to like connect this coast. We're not just connecting like one nonprofit. It's all these different groups and we're all so intertwined. So that's one. And then the nonprofit I founded, Sea Dreamers, aims to get more women and girls in the ocean. And it's exactly what this swim is if you learn about something and you're empowered to do the activity and you fall in love with it, then you're going to want to protect it. Because when you love something, you fight to protect it. And so Sea Dreamers is all about that. And I'm really excited after the swim to use the momentum to continue building that and getting more women and girls in the ocean.
Are there a lot of women and girls in the ocean these days? In open water swimming, in surfing, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So in swimming, I feel personally that in open water swimming, it's probably very even. You do hear a lot that like women actually are more successful at like the English Channel and stuff. So I think open water swimming does have good representation, but there's a study out there that in seafaring and maritime industry, so the jobs, only 1% identify as women. And then when you start to go to big wave surfing events, or prone paddling or spearfishing trips. These are all things I have done. It's often like I see one other girl and I'm like, oh my God, hi, like another girl. So I would say there is definitely still room for improvement to get more women in this space. Yeah.
And you started you swim at Cal. You were a pool swimmer, right? Like a very good pool swimmer. How did you kind of then get into open water swimming? Because I know plenty of swimmers who then just never swim after college or they don't want to go in the ocean at all. So what was it that sort of got you to transition?
Yeah, I think so for myself, I actually grew up sailing. I grew up sailing and we had our sailboat all over the Pacific Ocean, and our weekends were spent on the San Francisco Bay. And so a lot of my childhood memories were like sailing opties, like the little like they look like bathtubs with a sail, in that Alameda estuary, or bringing our sailboat to Angel Island and sleeping there overnight. And my sister and I were just always in the water. Or when our boat was in Mexico, again, my sister and I were always in the ocean. So for myself, I was like, the ocean was just this core part of my childhood. It never was ingrained in me that it should be something that was like scary. And then I swam at Cal, and during my time at Cal, we did do a lot of like body surfing, and we spent a lot of time in the ocean. And I'm so grateful to my coach that we did that, because how unique of an experience. And she taught us to be strong women first and have fun. And so I graduated. I didn't have the best finish to my swim career. I think my pool swimming career plummeted downhill pretty quickly after some personal things and 2 ACL tears. And it was just like, oh, well, that's that. But I left with this love for movement in the water. And I didn't want to race in the pool. I was like, we're done with that. But I got introduced to the Dolphin Club, and I was like, oh yeah, I still like love being in the water. And now I found this like new way to enjoy it.
Right.
So it kind of all came back together, like childhood and what I'd learned in college.
And I understand one of the first like long distance swims you did was the long way across Tahoe, or the diagonal way. And you actually like broke the guy's record from like, a lot of people when they move over to open water swimming or from short course to long distance, they lose some of their, but it turns out you're actually very, very good at this, right? Like, why do you think you're so good in the open water and at longer distances?
Yeah, it's funny. I was like a 200 freestyle specialist in college, and I got pushed up to the mile, and I hate racing the mile in the pool. Like, I truly cannot tell you how hard it is to go for 16 minutes, like all out effort. It's like you're sprinting, but 16 minutes is not a sprint. Anyways, I don't know. I think for myself, I'm able to like, I was talking with my boyfriend the other night about it. I was like, when I get in the water, it's like my brain, this other side of my brain turns on, and I don't know how to articulate it, but it's just this like, keep going a little faster, keep swimming a little faster, keep pulling. And I just am this other person. And I did really well in, I don't know. I did well in Ironman. I did a year of Ironman from 2023 to 2024. And my first Ironman I ever did, the swim canceled and my bike didn't shift, for the entire race. And I finished third. And so I qualified for Worlds. And I think there's just this part of me that like when something's over 2 hours, it's something in my brain either turns on or off. And I'm like, we're just going. So I don't know. I think I train really hard. Like, I think that's part of it, especially for Tahoe. I trained so hard, mostly by myself. And I just gritted it out. And I think sometimes you got to go for it, and you got to be prepared. And so I showed up very, very prepared for that. And I had a really fantastic crew with me that kept me going, and they let me know, hey, you could break this record if you wanted. And I was like, all right, let's freaking try. And we did. Yeah.
What does that training look like for a swim? Because there's no way you're swimming 5 hours a day to train every day, right? Like what does your week look like here?
Yeah. So before like Tahoe or English Channel or something that is at 21 miles, I actually would be doing a lot more than I'm doing right now. But it looks like anywhere from like 1 to 2 hours of swimming Monday through Friday, every day, with 2 or 3 weightlifting sessions. And then on the weekends, it's probably anywhere from 3 to 8 hours of swimming on the weekends. So that does add up to 15 to 18 hours of swimming. And that would be the peak. Right now, I'm doing probably 12 hours of swimming, 3 hours of lifting, but all of the other things too. And the advice I've gotten for a 4-month expedition is you can't train for 4 months. You let your body habituate through the first 2 weeks, and then it becomes the new norm.
Interesting. Yeah, I was like thinking about that. How do you train? Because obviously, 4 months is a thing that most people don't really ever do. So yeah, it's like, how do you train for that?
Yeah. I think about it though. When I was in college, we were doing about 25 hours of exercise over 6 days.
Sure.
And so that's very similar to what this duration will be. And I've been swimming for 30 years. Like I've never had shoulder problems. My body can do this. So it's similar to what we did in college, like hours wise, except I'm not going to have to like go to school, or I'm not going to right now have to like work my full-time job. Like I would do like 3 days in a row of 3 hours in the morning from 6 to 9 and then go to the hospital.
Right.
Like that's so tiring.
Now all you have to do is
be
swim.
done. Yes. I just have to swim and like enjoy it. Yeah.
We do have a lot of triathletes who, they get their pool swimming done, but they really struggle when they move to open water. Do you have any like advice or tips for them? I think they'd love to know how to kind of translate that.
Yeah, it's a very common question I get. So there's a couple things. One, I think it's really wise for people to spend more time playing in the ocean. And what I mean by that is if you live near a beach, go body surf. Like go learn how to surf, go experience how waves work and learn how to interact with it. If you can learn how to body surf, oh my gosh, you go to a triathlon with waves, you're not going to be nervous at all about the waves. So that's one, is like go play in the water a little bit more. Don't make it so like I have to go do my 2,000 yards in the lake. I'm dreading this. Like go enjoy it. Go just experience the water, how it moves. And then the second, this is probably a little bit easier to do, but I don't think you can always bring your pool stroke into open water. And I don't. I think what happens often is people have their stroke and their technique and they try to bring that into this dynamic space that is the ocean. And sometimes you might have to like catch a little differently, or maybe kick stronger, or breathe on the waves, not on your every 2 or 3. And so I think I just challenge people to try to match what the ocean's getting you. Swim with the ocean, with the waves. Don't try to bring your like formulaic stroke to the ocean. I don't know if that quite makes sense, but
well, it makes sense. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if we're all good enough swimmers to do it, but yeah.
Yeah. Just go spend more time. Like, yeah, go learn how to surf or something. I think it's also good for the brain. When I was training for Ironman, I joked that I was a feral triathlete because I would have like intervals for biking, and I'd be like, oh, perfect, I'm going to go mountain bike. Or I'd be like, go swim 3,000 yards. And I'd be like, I'm going to go surf for 90 minutes. But
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing.
I mean, obviously, yeah, the ocean is dynamic, and you can make all these plans and then everything changes. What are some of the times that you've been out there doing a swim and it just went totally awry?
Like all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
I think no, not all the time, but it does happen. One swim I can definitely think about is I was set to swim the North Channel, which is Ireland to Scotland, 21 miles. Water temp is 52 degrees, and I followed English Channel rules, so no wetsuit. That record was about 9 hours and 40 minutes. And so I was like, I've got this. Like I can do this. I can break this Guinness World Record. I showed up, and Mother Nature had very different plans. We were met with white caps, and the wind and the swell were going opposite directions. So it made for those little like peaky bumps in the water. And after about 4 hours of fighting it, you just have to surrender. And it's really just trusting that you are moving forward. Just take one stroke after another. Stop fixating so much on the time. And I should take my own advice. And it's one stroke after another, and just trust that you'll move forward. It's when you're hiking a mountain uphill, you just do one step after another. You're not going running pace. It's one step after another until you get to the finish line. And so there is a little bit of that when the ocean is not presenting its nicest version of itself, to just trust that you're moving forward.
Have you ever, I mean, I'm sure you have, but have you ever wanted to just quit? You're like, we have not moved forward in 5 hours. I'm never going to get there. There's jellyfish. I can't, you know what I mean? Everything's going wrong. Do you ever get in the boat?
I haven't. But have I wanted to? Absolutely. When I did the Farallon Islands, the Golden Gate Bridge, 31 miles last summer, I wanted to finish right at the end. We had like 2 miles left, and I had been staring at the same Point Bonita. Of course, you're familiar. And I just staring at that lighthouse for like 90 minutes. We were not moving, and I was just like, I'm done. Like, I am not going forward. What are we doing? And I told my crew I wanted to get out. They never put the ladder down. I am curious on that swim, because there were a lot of times I wanted to quit on that swim. I was just so cold. I don't think I put on enough weight for it, but I was so cold. And, but they never put the ladder down. And I wonder if they had, if I would have grabbed for it. I think they would have called my bluff, to be honest. And I would have been like, let me just keep trying. But I did want to quit, and they just kept me moving forward. And I think the times that I've really wanted to quit, it's that extrinsic. It's think about the people you're inspiring, the people that are cheering for you, everyone that got you to the start line, everyone that's on the boat with me, or, you know, for ultra runners, it's your crew. It's like, if you can't in that moment do it for yourself, do it for them. Do it for them for as long as you can. And that's been a really helpful thing for me to tap into.
Yeah, it makes sense. Someone asked me, what do you think about during all of this? And besides, you know, all the like logistical and I got to keep going. And what do you think about for 9 hours swimming?
Yeah, when I'm swimming, I definitely go pretty blank. I think swimming is this one activity where you do kind of lose all your senses, right? You're not really seeing everything. You're not talking, you have earplugs in. And so there is this just cathartic, flow state that I definitely enter. When I let my mind wander, one thing I try to do is think about like just gratitude and be like, this is really cool. And I'm excited for the California coast because I'm actually going to get to look at something. On a lot of my channel crossings, you're not looking at anything, for so long. And then kind of funny things that I do is, if I have a Garmin on, which I do in my training swims, and for some California, I'll have a Garmin on, but for my channel swims, I don't wear one. I like think about how fast I'm going, how many strokes I'm taking, and how many miles I should hit. And so there's a lot of like pace calculations, math happening in my head. And sometimes I think about where I could fly to if I wasn't swimming. So it's like, all right, at hour 12, all right, I could make it to France. Okay, you have 6 hours left. You could fly to New York. So it's all those just, what can I be doing besides this?
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, it sounds like, it's certainly going to be an adventure. You mentioned, are you doing it wetsuit or no wetsuit?
I am going to wear a wetsuit. Yeah. There was just it was a hard decision to make, but a couple weeks ago I swam up in Humboldt and the water was 46. And just days on end at that temperature, I think would take a really big toll on my body. So there's a little bit of like, it's a little too cold. Also sun exposure and the potential of jellyfish stings. It eliminates that. So I'm a big believer in control what you can. And if I can control this, then I'm going to make that choice, because I can't control the weather, but I can control being warm.
As you're jumping in Oregon, where do you get, and you get out at the Mexico border?
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to look just yet.
Right. It's like it's a little tricky, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we're just going to cross the latitude. I don't think we're going to be able to touch land, but, we'll see what happens when we get there.
I was going to say, I think there's like a lot of security around there, but,
there is. Yeah,
there is. Yeah. How can people follow along? Cause ideally, we're recording this before you start sometime next week, and then it'll go out while you're swimming. You'll be swimming when this gets published. So how can people check in on you, follow along, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So, if you're an Instagram person, my Instagram, breed is going to be a really great thing to follow. But we also have an incredible media partner that's going to be broadcasting so much of this and telling the short stories and having live up. And so that media partner is Allez, ALLEZ, and they're, check out their YouTube or their Instagram as well. So they're a great place to follow, my Instagram. And then the kind of like source of truth for everything is going to be the website, which is very easy. swimcalifornia.com. And that's where the tracker will be and links to everything, and you can comment. So I think, hopefully it's easy for people to follow along. And if you're physically in California, come by one of the community pop-ups. So check our events calendar and come by a pop-up and learn what's going on in your backyard.
People cannot come swim with you though, right? This is not a join-in situation. No.
Yeah,
No.
it's just so risky. And I'm like, I know I'm putting myself at risk, but I just couldn't imagine if someone joined and something happened to them.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah. But I would encourage people to like come up with their own challenges. You know, maybe you and a swim group over the summer together as a relay do 90 miles or something. Come up with something fun, get in the water. Have your triathletes go body surf.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you.